Betrayal hurts because there is a part of it that was your fault. I know that that's easy to say, but what does that actually mean? Well, it means that you gave your trust out to somebody and that trust has been broken, or you have given energy, time, effort towards somebody else and they have not given it the same appreciation and respect that it deserves. I had somebody write me a DM the other day, and in that message, they talked about the idea that their partner had cheated on them and they don't know how to move forward and they feel betrayed. I would argue that betrayal, well, it leaves a trail. And going down that trail is extremely important. When you are betrayed, you need to understand what went wrong and why it went wrong so you do not make that mistake again. And it's not to say that you will not be hurt again, because unfortunately in life, things happen. You have lapses of your judgment. You trust somebody that seems trustworthy only for you to get smacked in the face. It's not so much about, doing the complete opposite and demonizing everybody and being like, oh my gosh, everyone is out to get me. That won't help you as much as you think it will. Your automatic response is to cocoon yourself and protect yourself. But the truth is that long term will do you more harm than it will good. You need to go to the point where you knew that something was wrong. And oftentimes we all have this. We like to think that we don't. But when we look at betrayal, we look at the small, tiny little things that began to pile up. The signs, the flags. They were always red and they were always there. Give yourself the respect to realize that you had made a mistake, that you were not supposed to trust this person. This person was deeply against your values, but they were available, they wanted to hang out with you, they gave you attention. That's usually a lot of our early relationships, what they're based on. It's just like, you think I'm cute? I think you're cute. All right, let's hang out, Let's do more than hang out. What? But it doesn't change the fact that you've now been betrayed, and moving off of betrayal is one of the most difficult things in the world, because how can you be sure that nobody else will do the same thing to you? How can you be sure that you are safe and that you are able to be vulnerable to somebody else, that you are able to open up in the way that you want? You're able to make up, my name Jeff, joke without being laughed at, even though your last partner thought that you were annoying. They disguised it as like, oh, that's funny. Ha ha. But they didn't actually find you entertaining. They didn't find you funny. You were just a blip in their past. Betrayal hurts. Betrayal is realizing that you were in love with the idea of somebody, not the actual reality of somebody. And betrayal is painful because being wrong is painful. Being wrong sucks, and it hurts, and it's not good. It doesn't feel good. If it did, everyone would do it. Everyone would be wrong all the time, but that's why there's this unlearning of being wrong being a bad thing, because really, you being wrong is you learning. It's you making a mistake and realizing, okay, that's not cool. This relationship was not good. This betrayal that I have experienced by somebody, okay, maybe I need to build better trust in the people that I'm around and the relationships I'm around, instead of completely going into it and giving all of myself. Maybe there needs to be a give and take. Maybe there needs to be more time of us getting to know each other before we cover all of the bases. I'm guilty of that myself. These things are important. These are things you need to consider. And after you've accepted the fact that there is a trail, and there's something that you can pinpoint, and there's a reason why the things happened and why you were betrayed, You can now understand and look at like the characteristics of a person that isn't trustworthy. You can look at what in yourself did you give up that allowed yourself to be open and vulnerable to something like this happening to you. Oftentimes, cheating is brought up as a huge part, and nobody likes to get cheated on. I mean, it's a fear of mine. I totally understand. But I think that it is a fear of mine because of the idea of not finding out. That's been the big thing for me, that somebody cheats on me and I'm oblivious to it, and I'm walking around like, oh, I have no idea. But when I look at that, I realize I'm not actually scared of somebody being with somebody else. I'm just afraid of not knowing, and that's a bigger problem. And if I go on the defense and I just assume all the time that if my partner wants to go and hang out with her friends, that there's a chance somebody might be there and they might cheat on me, it's not a rational way of thinking, and I need to trust. I need to trust, and I need to build trust with somebody, like from the get-go, in order to be like, I can trust that when you're going somewhere, I'm not second guessing where you are. I can trust that when you tell me that you have a friend that is a man, that it isn't an encroachment on our relationship. And that trust, it comes from learning from when you've been betrayed. It's all a learning process. Now, how do you deal with the fallout? Like, how do you deal with your relationship with this person and knowing that somebody that hurt you so bad exists in the world without any consequences? That's oftentimes how it feels. You're done wrong, and you almost like want revenge. You want retribution against somebody else. I think you need to stop right there, because their life is no longer of your concern. And the more time that you think about them in that context, the more time that you think about how much wrong was done to you and how much you want wrong done to them, you are doing yourself a disservice. You are worried about the wrong thing because they do not matter anymore. Yes, they hurt you. Yes, they betrayed you. Yes, they cheated on you. Yes, they did some damage. But that does not need to be your story. It does not need to be the end of the line. It doesn't need to be, oh, that is what it is. I'm just betrayed by everyone around me. No. That is a decision that you are making, looking at this situation. Now, obviously, you're valid in being upset. You're valid in being angry. I'm not going to sit here and be like, just be stoic about it, bro. No, be upset, man. It sucks. Nobody deserves to be cheated on. Nobody deserves to have someone play with you in plain sight and make you think you're crazy. That's not normal. And you didn't deserve that. But you also have to understand that that person wants you to give in to those emotions. They want you to feel something about it. And in my experience, what has really helped me is being like, okay, this was the situation. That is the person. I am no longer with this person because they've betrayed me. And so I'm moving here. I'm gone. Me and this person, no longer. We're done. And I need to take the energy that I would have towards hating them, towards stalking their profile and looking for any subliminal on their spam account or whatever. I need to invest it in myself. And I need to treat myself better. Because betrayal oftentimes is a lack of self-respect. Because you knew what was going on. You knew there were signs and you decided to ignore them. And there's a level of accountability that is insanely uncomfortable, but that you need to make to realize that you don't want this to happen again. And a lot of people wish, they're like, oh yeah, I don't want that to ever happen again. But if it did, it would give them the perfect excuse to be a bad human being. How do you know this, Zerky? Because I've used that same excuse. Because somebody inflicted pain on me, I am allowed to then go into a situationship and emotionally cut myself off and play with somebody else's feelings because it happened to me. That is not the right thing to do. How does somebody doing wrong to you justify doing wrong back to someone else in this context, right? It doesn't. It doesn't. Be the stronger individual. Be the person that most people are not, they don't have the courage to be, which is the person that learns. The person that looks at betrayal and instead of investing their time into being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, they stop themselves. They look at the situation and they realize, okay, you've shown me your true colors. You've shown me that I can't be in a relationship with you. Actually, I should be very thankful that I've seen this side of you so I don't waste my time, because your time is very valuable. So now that we've come to terms with the actual betrayal, how do we ensure that it doesn't happen again? How do we ensure that we don't have this kind of reaction emotionally to what has gone down? You need to draw a line. You need to stop letting yourself be walked all over on by other people. You need to say that there is a boundary and you need to make it known. You need to express that your values do not align with somebody that goes and cheats on other people, somebody that does bad business, somebody that puts themselves narcissistically in front of another person in a relationship all of the time, and their opinion is the only one that matters. You need to draw a line and say that that is not right. You need to be vocal about the way that you feel in a relationship. You need to tell somebody, I do not like the way that you treat me. I do not like the fact that you're always laughing at my jokes, or that you think that my career and my interests don't matter and they're not real. Drawing a line sometimes is equated to disagreeing with someone, and that is not at all the case. I think that disagreeing with somebody is also very, very important, but drawing a line is just being human, and it's being somebody that is able to express when something is not fair, when there is an injustice, where you have something that matters to you and somebody is stepping on it and they do not give it the respect that it deserves. I'm appalled at how many times I've allowed myself to be disrespected because I did not draw a line. Because I did not say, hey, let's not joke about that. You saying, oh, what if I cheated on you, is not actually a good joke. Like, be funnier. There are a lot of other things you could, joke about, 6'7", famously funny. You could joke about, I don't know, my bender game, but instead you're saying, oh, what if I cheated on you? Like, oh, haha. Really? Draw a line. Like, no. No, it's not funny for somebody to, make fun of the things that you love. I get it, sometimes people can poke fun at you and it's all fun and games. If somebody really loves you, they're able to give you some good shtick and you're able to give it back. But if somebody is just like making an encroachment on your values and your personality, and they're just doing it because it benefits them and it makes them look better than you, I think there's a serious problem. I don't think that's normal. Respect is a two-way street, and I think that I've been kind of afraid of sticking up for myself or saying what's right, because I'm afraid that it will make someone upset. But I would argue when you draw a line and it upsets somebody else, it actually shows you a lot about their character. Because if they're not willing to look at their joke that they made, or like ask a follow-up question, hey, why did that upset you so much? Like, what is the context behind you telling me that's not cool, that me, showing up 30 minutes late to our hangout, you don't enjoy that? Like, what's the problem with that? Because maybe their relationship towards time, their relationship towards you is different from the one that you have towards them. I think a lot of us have relationships that are really disrespectful in in context of like your time, your effort, your love that you pour into them. I think a lot of people like to take. And I just want you to know that you don't have to like stay in any of these relationships. You aren't bound by anything. If anything, drawing a line will actually make you realize what relationships matter to you the most and what people are willing to work with you and see you for who you are and be like, no, I get that. I should be more respectful of your time, and I should make more of an effort to reach out to you and show my love to you. But you know who the hardest person to draw a line with is? Yourself. That is borderline impossible. It feels that way sometimes. Because drawing a line with yourself means brutal honesty. Whoa! What's up? Hey. It means acknowledging that you don't care about yourself in the way that you think you do. You're a pushover to the values and the things that you want done. I've been such a pushover to the things that matter to me in my life recently, like my sleep schedule and the things that I put into my body, what I consume, and also like my ability to focus. I have not been able to respect the line that I have drawn for myself because I'm like, I don't deserve it. You can really tell a lot about a person by the way that they respect themselves and if they do at all. And I don't think that I've been a good representative of myself to myself. And listen, I don't think that it means me being super like, I will go to bed at 10:30. You know, you have to be able to have a working relationship with yourself. And you should be able to like hear yourself out and be like, you know what, maybe I don't need to lock in right at this moment. I can enjoy like a dinner with my friends. I can enjoy going to Chili's for $60. No, I can enjoy being present, going on a hike, reading a book. Like I can allot time to indulge in the things that matter, a healthy amount. But where I think there is a true discrepancy is in people just like indulging too much to a point where it's destructive, to a point where it's not even honoring your own boundaries. You preach that, yeah, man, oh, we're locking in. Oh, yeah, we're going to the gym every single day. But the minute that it's time to show up for yourself, you're a ghost. Famously, you're a ghost. You know? Be your own Cole Palmer. Like, be clutch for yourself. Penalty, 90th minute with 6 minutes extra time. You have to approach yourself the same way that you would approach high stakes with somebody else. Like, you are the person that matters the most. Why would you not show up for yourself the most? Why wouldn't you draw a line where a line needs to be drawn? I want to be a healthier individual. I want to be more athletic. Okay, you don't need to be David Goggins, but if you want to do those things, how can you work within the parameters of your life to make it happen? You can go on more walks. You can figure out a schedule where you give yourself the time to be great and to be good. And I know it is difficult because it means sacrifice. But when a line is drawn, you have to realize that there is a sacrifice. Oh, there is. Because you are actively going against the person that you once were. You are actively doing something different than what you are accustomed to. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a beautiful thing. But if you don't allow it to be a beautiful thing, Zerky Show, it's going to be hard, and you're going to continue to disappoint yourself. Take yourself seriously. Today's episode of The Zerky Show was filmed on a bike trail in a canyon here in beautiful Austin, Texas. Did you know that the Zerky Show is everywhere you go? That is correct. You can watch it, you can scroll it, you can stream it. The choice is yours. These are the best ways to tap in. Do the things that bring you joy, and just know that I'm proud of you. There's a lot going on. Stay grounded. Keep going. Keep moving forward. Keep an eye on your friends. Keep an eye on your loved ones. Keep moving forward, Zerky Show. If you're trying something new, just know that I believe in you. And as always, I am sending you lots of love and peace.